Hello. Oh,
Crazy, crazy, crazy. I
I
don't know what
know.
it is about these links.
I don't, whoops, I lost you. Hold on. I think I have, I'm trying to move up.
Start your video.
That's not good. Let's see here how I get out of that. We do. I don't know what's going on, but anytime I use one of your old links, especially if there's a time on it, I'm just sitting in the waiting room and I should take a picture so
Hmm.
you can see what it says, but it says, uh, uh, it'll say wait to tell host, but this one said that you were in another meeting.
Well, what I'll do is I'll send you a link and then you can have it tattooed on your arm. And this has happened to me too. And it's probably a senior moment, but in Zoom, you can establish recurring links that have no date. They're just
Right,
the link. You just use it every time.
right.
So I'm going to send that to you in an email. Um,
Okay,
just so you have it, then please just only use that link.
okay.
Oh my
And I
goodness.
use Zoom all the time. That's
Yep.
we Zoom. I had a Zoom training this morning that we hosted. So
Got it.
anyway,
Anyway, do you want to start out with a little meditation?
yes.
All right, let me just get it set up here. One moment. Feel your body as though your body is gently being moved by a gentle wind. Think of it in the same way you would watch a tree very slightly and gently waving as the breeze comes through the leaves and the branches. You can kind of feel an inner movement. It is as though you're aligning yourself even more than you already are with universal and cosmic forces that are the natural order of the universe. And in this way, we let go of discordant thoughts. We let go of beliefs that no longer serve us. We let go of the idea of a human doing and return to the human being. And we feel this beautiful movement within ourselves as though it's the dance of life. How beautiful, how wonderful, and how glorious it is to feel the cosmic movement within ourselves and to feel ourselves within that perfect, perfect alignment. And in this place, you can watch how your mind does go here and go there, and how the mind thinks about this and that, and how the mind worries about such and so forth. And yet, the you that is behind your mind is always tranquil, it's always pure, it always divine source. It is seamless, eternal, infinite. It is endless. That is the true yourself. And from this place of purity, you can watch your mind and even smile and says, "Oh, you know, there goes that mind of mine again, worrying about this and that and what I'm going to be and what I'm going to do." And your inner guidance is like that gentle wind, almost a nuance, very slight, because the smallest feeling is greater than the greatest thought. And you can feel this inner movement suggesting to all parts of your being, your physical body, your mental, your emotional state, and feeling ever more the beautiful nature of your true spirit. That what you suspected is true, that you really are a pure spirit and nothing less, that you are whole, you are complete. There is no separation, only oneness. And may the sweet principles of harmlessness and compassion be the ever constant, ever present guide of your every intention, of your every thought, and of your every action. And so it is, and so it shall be. It is done. Breath in gently and deeply, and breath out. Breath in gently and deeply, and breath out. Feeling rested, recharged, and grounded. And when you feel the moment is right, open your eyes.
Very nice. Thank you.
Mhm.
I'm so rested. I feel like I could take a nap.
Well, you know, many people do in the afternoon. It's actually a very restorative thing, even if it's 30 minutes.
Hmm.
I've done it, and it really makes a difference. Oh, my goodness. Look at you having done level 8 and now getting ready to move on to level 9. So I wanted to ask you a couple of things. One of
Hmm.
them is um, how did you have any questions about level 8? I guess I should start out with that.
Nope. I think it all connected and rung true.
Okay.
There weren't
Okay.
any
Well,
surprises,
okay.
or things that I didn't understand.
Okay. Well, level 9 is going to be ethics and healing, and I want to get onwards with that as soon as possible.
Okay.
You know, levels 8 and 9, laws and ethics, but these are important things for us to cover as a healer because, you know, in like, for instance, in the state of California, if you put your hand on someone's body and you move your hand more than 1 inch, that's considered massage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't. That's why I say just if you're going to touch somebody, just touch on them like this, and but that's all.
Hmm.
So if you have no questions, I know you may think this is a little simplistic, but what are the 9 steps?
Oh, it's simplistic. All right. First, we start off,
Why is he asking me that?
clearing, and you can call it cleansing. So preparing before we begin. The next one is due regard and permission. So that's one, two, three. All right. So then four, we get into it. So it's the actual first assessment review of what's going on. Number five would be then the actual healing. Then six is it's a reassessment review. Is there anything changed? Is there anything else that pops up? Or it may remain the same. All right. So the next one would be closing, and then respect to this time is sacred in that we see it as almost like a temple. Now we're closing it out. Um, let's see. Next would be uh, giving them the information from the assessment. And then the final one will be clearing and cleansing again.
Hmm. Yeah. And that's something I also want to mention. I know you know this, but sometimes I will mention things just to kind of keep concretizing it, and that is that, no matter how far you go in this work, it's always important to do your clearing and cleansing exercises. That's it's really, really, really not going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to do it too. Sometimes I go, oh, okay, I've been doing this and I'm clear. Well, I've been doing it a long time, so my clearing is much quicker, but it's good to have a discipline.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, let me put it to you in a different way. I'll put it to you in machinist terms. When I was a young man working for my father, after working a couple of years scrubbing bottoms of boats, he allowed me to start coming into the machine shop and learning how to work the lathe.
Mm-hmm.
And he was an expert. And he would tell me, always do it perfectly. That way, whenever it's crucial, it's just another job.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you train yourself thoroughly in this way, when someone comes to you with a real serious problem, because let's just say, the people you've worked on, yes, they have issues, but for the most part, they're ambulatory, they can get around, So, when someone comes to you and says, well, I've been diagnosed with stage four something or other, and I've been diagnosed at terminal. And some healers would say to themselves, well, I can't work on that. So this obviates or cancels out the reality of your training is because you're a conduit. You're not doing the healing, but you are facilitating that person's divine blueprint. It doesn't matter what their illness is, it doesn't matter what the diagnosis is. That's not who we are. We are conduits of divine power. We're calling upon the purity within ourselves to flow that divine power through us, not from us. And then that person may recover, they may not, but you've done your part. So then we get into the ethics, and I'm kind of preparing you for level 9, like my story about when I gave a lecture in Las Vegas and I had a room full of about 50 people or so, but felt like 50. And I'm standing by the door like a good pastor would as they leave. And I shake this fellow's hand. He's an older guy, and I can see his heart problems. Well, then I shake his wife's hand, and I said, I know you don't know me, but would you please mind to take your husband to your healthcare provider and have his heart checked out? It's okay. So that was it. I didn't know who they were, never met them before. So about 10 days later, I think I got an email or phone call. I can't remember, but they did take him to the doctor. And he did have a heart problem such that if it was addressed early, there's no problem. It can be caught ahead of time, so to speak. So here I was in my ethics, right? Like, do I not say anything? And maybe spiritually, he was supposed to meet me, right? It was an intended encounter. It was a synchronicity that was supposed to happen. And did I step up to the plate and say something like, I don't know this guy? Or did I go, okay, what is my intuition telling me? Hey, hey, buddy, and I talked to his wife, says, please, have a look. So you're going to be confronted from time to time with these kind of ethical dilemmas. Do I say anything? Do I not say anything? Oh my gosh, I see this. So that's just preparing you for level 9, and I want to get you scheduled in to take level 9 as soon as possible because I want to get you through your next 10 um, reflective practices so I can get you into level 10 and 11 where we start really getting into possession. Okay, so we can kind of go through these levels, but I want to get you going into levels 10 and 11. Make sense? Okay, so before we're done today, let's get you scheduled for the next meeting so we can do that. Um, and we started about maybe 20 minutes after the hour, 15. So I have a doctor's appointment down in San Diego, so I'll have to leave by 2:15, I think, to make sure I'm there plenty of time. So, do you have any questions or comments thus far? I left today kind of open, partly because I really wanted to have a discussion with you about anything you needed to know about chapter 8. I wanted to talk with you about catching you up as to, how it's going for you so far. You're halfway through your training now. And what is your learned experience? How do you feel working with people? Do you feel like you're getting the results that you thought you would, or is it turning out in some way that you didn't think in the same way that it would be? You're muted, and I can only see you from nose up. Oh no, there's more of you. You're still muted.
Mute myself. There we go.
There you
Uh,
go.
I keep standing up and sitting down. Sit because I'm just trying to move, right? Not just stay because I'm sitting at an island, so the chairs are high. Anyway, regarding chapter 8, I think everything resonated. I feel like the information is in line with my innate thinking.
Okay,
I
good.
didn't
Good way
feel
of
like
putting
there
it.
was anything, you know, like when I first started. Wait a minute, chakras? What are the chakras? What what are all
What are
of them?
those things?
Yeah.
Wheels of what?
Uh-huh. So some of the information was new, even though I could feel, I know there's energy that flows through, and I had that through us. I always told people that I felt like I was a conduit, especially working with special needs populations like foster care kids, traumatized, hospice. So it's this innate feeling and knowing, because I don't think I ever told you this story. And I was hanging out with Enriqueta, but we were visiting, and I believe a sacred land in Claremont. And I know indigenous people that have inhabited the land because I met people there. And anyway, I just felt this. We were talking about God and how he used us during a time that we had friends stay with us, and the brother was from China, uh, dying of cancer. And so what happened was one day my husband said, "Hey, let's go visit my coworker at his house in Pomona." I said, "Okay." When we got there, he was gone, and the people in the building told us that he was in the City of Hope, blah, blah, blah. So we're like, oh, let's call. And we ended up at the City of Hope, and they basically said there was nothing else they could do for him. And at that moment, God spoke to me and said, he's supposed to come home with you guys. So I just blurted out, "Oh no, he's coming home with us," because where he lived, it was just impossible to get all the equipment in, and it just wasn't conducive to like end of life healing, blah, 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 blah. So he came home with us, but I felt like in that time period, I just got really close to God and then all these fundamental things. So now I'm back within the Riqueta in this indigenous, I really felt like there was a sacred land where we were talking and having lunch. So one of our other friends joined us, and in these moments of conversation about the Holy Spirit and God, I just felt my hands light up like nothing. They were like burning. It's like I had a touch, not in a negative way, but on fire, power, energy, electricity. So
And
he's
when was this?
talking. This was years ago, like I don't know how many years ago. It could have been like 10, 15 years ago. At least 10. You have to look back when this gentleman passed away. So I looked to our friend to the left, and he's saying that he was sick for a long time. This is the first time he got out of his house. He had the flu, it was really bad. And my hands are just burning up. I was like, I have to release this energy. So he ended up get this to my right. So I just touched her and I didn't say a word. And all of a sudden I turned back to this other friend and we're talking, talking, talking. And then I look and I'm like, Enriqueta. And then I turn, she's hugging a tree. I'm like, what happened? And she couldn't even talk. And then finally, when she could speak, she said, um, before you touch anybody, make sure you ask for permission.
Wow.
But I was relieved, but it kept building as we were in this place. So he left, and then she and I continued to speak. And she was like, hey, maybe the energy is for you. Why don't you go ahead and just, any place of your body, figure out where you need to touch yourself. So it was like this crazy afternoon where I'm like this and this and this. But that's when the energy like really built in my hands. And she didn't believe me because I had told her about this before, but to this magnitude, this was like off the charts.
Mhm.
But she says, now I get what you're saying. I believe you. So if we had a mechanism to actually gauge it, I think it would have read. And I always believe that it's always flowing. Everything we need here, like our way of life is so primitive and unnatural. Like we don't need Edison, we don't need solar powers, we don't need gas. Already have like this idea of this new energy, and I've seen it in real life. I've seen it twice. It's an energy network that is all around, probably what Tesla was talking about.
Yeah.
But after I saw this energy, it's like, what are we doing? We have wasted so much material, and now the planet's toxic because of, and things happen for a reason. We're at the next juncture, and and I'm at ease at this. Before I was on my high horse, we got to do things differently, blah, blah, blah. But I had an experience over the
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah, but Tanya, that's why you're in the avocation that you're in. And that's why you're attracting these children and families to you that you do. Look, if you weren't capable to take this training, you wouldn't be here for two reasons.
Hmm.
One, if I thought it was too dangerous or you weren't ready to carry this power, I would have to stop you from proceeding. But number two, sometimes the person themselves is just prevented spiritually from taking the training. They have something going on in the family or the money disappear or something gets in their way that says, this is not for you. And here you are, a year and a half into your training, and you've changed.
Hmm.
So to me, you have the capacity and the capability to excel at this work. And it has many hidden benefits. One
Hmm.
hidden benefit is even if you never practice it outwardly, you embody it, which means it affects every type of person you can imagine, from children to adults to your work life, your home life, you name it, doesn't matter. But it affects everything because it's kind of like you revealing this beautiful star within
Mm,
yourself that just wants to shine in every direction. And you're just constantly taking off layers of, you name it, who knows, taking off stuff. But
mm,
that's what you're actually doing.
mhm.
So this, as a student, you're doing very, very well.
Thank you. So over the weekend, I had a spiritual enlightenment. So I had an experience where,
That weekend,
no,
this
this,
weekend.
yeah.
Okay,
So
okay, good.
Aaron came over and we did some of his shaman practices and
Okay.
just so the traumatic event that happened in our life, this is why I'm going to Texas, why my husband went, is that my poor granddaughter was harmed. So my daughter had to go through reporting to the police, now with Child Protective Services. So it's nothing she did. There was a perpetrator. And she actually is the one that saw the act and reported it. So yeah, it's pretty serious. It brought up all the old stuff that I thought I had. I thought I completely worked through it, but just it brought up so much and I didn't even realize it till I did this ceremony over the weekend. And what happened was I was able to release again the trauma, the pain, but to also connect to God. And the love that I felt, it's just I can even feel it now. It's so different. It's not the pain affecting the body and the soul, knowing that I'm above it, that I
What
am not
what
in
what
it.
what kind of ceremony?
So what he did was he has, I can't even remember, but it's like tobacco, but you don't smoke it, you actually swallow it.
You swallowed tobacco?
It's some type of mixture like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But basically the ceremony was like ritual for like a reverence, right?
Correct. So he actually does the
Reverence for
whole
God kind of thing.
right. And he's only
Okay.
connected and call in the
Okay.
person's so he knows I believe in the Virgin Mary and he knows where my troops are, and he will say that in the ceremony, like call on whoever. So he's not bringing in something that's not in line with my own fundamental
Okay.
spiritual beliefs.
Okay.
And in this ceremony, I just felt pure love. So it's like releasing all of the trauma and then feeling the love of all that is, of God, of Source, and just knowing, it was almost like everything we're doing right now, all this running around like ants, means
That's
absolutely
fascinating that you would say that
nothing.
because I was thinking about that this morning, that we're all ants in an ant farm, and what we're doing is realizing that there's much more to it than that.
Yeah. Where we're at right now is nothing but on the spiritual, the soul level. I shouldn't even say spiritual, on the soul level. Well, it is spiritual, not religion, but on the soul level, on the spiritual level, there's so much more, so much more. And like your Dr. Motoyama had that whole picture he drew, I do believe that exists. And that we
Mhm.
just can't even imagine all that. It's just beyond us because we're only taught this, what's in front of us. So it was pretty neat. Now you say I was supposed to be here in San Diego. And so we went to an event, right? I don't know, maybe it's 2 months ago. So we posted on Instagram. So I have someone who's helping me, and she's not putting a lot. It's only flyers. We don't have pictures of people. We don't have all that, right? But she's really great at doing that. So she's part of the board. That's her new thing she's doing for us. So we just posted that. And let me tell you, I felt like sometimes I'm in this other dimension, this other world because
That's
I'm not
cool.
kidding. When she first put this out, at some point, let's say 2 weeks later, it said, "Congratulations on Instagram. You hit 1,000, 1,000 people have checked you guys out." So I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. There's confetti going up on the screen and everything. Okay, 2 weeks later, it says you're at 4,400, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, cool. Now we're getting invitations for people. They're asking us to come and do workshops. So we did a workshop last Saturday, but I had her post it maybe 2 weeks ahead of time. We didn't do anything, really strategically early, right? Because we sent it out and we figured we're doing it at the park, but there's going to be families at the park as well. I'm not worried. We're going to tell our families if they come, they come. If they don't, they don't. I don't really even care. We're just doing this, right? Well, we had families that showed up and it was great. And then the day before we had the event, a high school called me and said, we were going to bring 30 kids to you guys, but we couldn't get the buses in time, but we want you guys to come to the high school and do your event. So we're going to go tomorrow. And then I got another invitation. And when I talked to some of my workers, they were like, oh my gosh, I used to work for another company and they really worked hard to get into that event. But I didn't do anything. We were invited. So it's like the universe, like you said, synchronicity is happening and I
Mhm.
don't have to do anything. It's just be available. Of course, we're going to put the flyers out. We have the little Instagram, but let me go back to the Instagram. If I were to go on the Instagram right now, guess how many people have viewed it, our account, our flyer, what have you?
306.
414. Even though in this other world, I am not kidding, I'm not making this up. It said you reached the 1,000 mark. And then the next one was you're at 4,000 and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what? How did we go? Where is this stuff coming from? But it's another world.
Universe. Yeah, universe.
It's another dimension that
Hmm.
I believe we're transitioning to. Um, I really believe that because I things are just happening where there's a crossover. It's happening whether we want to say it or not because it sounds really odd and strange, right? But anyway, and then I could see things happening like so Roddy was here and then we went to there's a what is it called? Oak Park Market. I believe they're not maybe they're in Oceanside. It's a crossover between Oceanside Vista, the border, and then Park Park Market. I think that's what they're called. But
You got me.
They sell Mediterranean food. It is really good. I think it's not Lebanese. Yeah, maybe it is Lebanese. I don't think it's Persian. It's not Afghani. But anyway, it is delicious and it's authentic, right? So on our way there, I said, "Oh my gosh, I could see you in another world, Roddy. Did you ever have a silver earring?" Because I'm describing what he looks like. And then his dog is with us, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, your dog just yawned." And then the dog yawned because the dog sleeps a lot, but it ended up yawning like about 2 minutes after I said that. But it was just hilarious. It's like, boom, I can see you in another dimension, and then I can see your dog. But I feel like it's happening and it's becoming more frequent now. But I didn't make up the thing about Instagram, and I wish I had taken a picture or screenshot of that because then, the proof is here.
Do you do you intend to hang a shingle out and offer your services, spiritual counselor, practitioner?
I want to, but I have to resolve. And I think it's sometimes we get these messages like a pause. So I think that's where I'm at right now. But that's what I see for the future. Definitely what I want to do is integrate these outside workshops. And that's what we're talking about in our everyday practice is the chakra, energy, being a conduit, and this training that we're doing here is so important for parents that have no hope. So I transferred the kiddo, but I had a kiddo and just severe. Mom blames herself for waiting, but integrating what you have taught me, I mean, just brought so much hope that your baby's a gift, not disabled, not
Yeah.
some oddity, just a different view right now, what you probably visualize, but giving them hope that it's going to be all right.
The reason I say that is because one of the things you could do now is to catalog your testimonials.
Mm,
I mean, it may not take you very much time to do it. It might, but it's little things you can do between now and the time you decide to go public. But if someone says, "My gosh, I don't know what it is, Tanya, but when I worked with you, I went from this to this."
mm,
And then another thing you could do is you could start collecting these testimonials, not just writing them down yourself from your learned experience, like a blog or something. But you can collect the testimonials from people who have said, Tanya just want to write to you to say, when you worked on me, I went from this to this, because that helps you to concretize your work. It gives you a place to catalog it, like in your computer, you can create a separate file for this type of thing. Then you always have it. If you decide there is a space and time when you want to do this, then you've got all this content. And then you can say to somebody, hey, Dana, will you please publish this? Or hey, office assistant or whatever, can you please
hmm
publish this on LinkedIn, on Yelp, on Facebook, Instagram?
It's
Then
funny
you
because
you have your content.
the information flows. So usually when I'm alone, it flows. If I'm in the mood and in the moment, I can walk and I buy all these trees. They speak to me. The songs just come out. It's like I better start recording myself singing because I'm not going to remember this song. Or, I was at Enriqueta's house. We were house sitting, and this is after we started. And oh my gosh, I started to sing a song. My husband's in the shower. I had turned on the heater and he's in the shower. And I thought I heard him. I thought he was playing the music, right? So I'm like, hey, that's a
Really?
cool, that's a nice jazz band. So I'm singing, making up the words. Then he comes out and he's like, hey, what are you listening to? I said, huh? I said, I thought you were listening to something. But through the furnace, this music was coming out, and her husband has all these, like, had over 20 guitars, two pianos. I don't know what else, but he just had a ton of instruments, drums, you name it, right? So when we would go, we'd have karaoke night. He and I would love to sing together, and then they would pick music for me to sing, right? So I'm singing, and they're like telling me what to sing. But anyway, aside from that, and then what ended up happening is I was drying laundry in their dryer. Same thing. I could hear it was like a broadband radio, like from, I don't know, maybe the 40s. It sounded like a program from the 40s. And I'm like, there is no freaking way I'm going to get a connection from the dryer. But it was coming through like 40s, a different time frame, the past, not
Wow.
the present. Yeah. And I wish I had recorded because my husband heard it too. So it's not just me, right? He heard, the heater. He's like, yeah, it does sound like
The re
music.
the
I
the
said,
reason I say that is because, or the reason I'm making a note is because one of the nice things about cell phones now is you can say, hey, make a note, and then you
mm-hmm.
remember it. So this morning at 4:30, I'm an older guy. I gotta get up, do my thing. And I come back to bed, and Michelle talks in her sleep, but she doesn't just talk, she talks like you and me right now, clear, concise, not right? And so this morning I get back in bed and she goes, ay, 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 ay. And I almost, I'm thinking, oh, maybe,
But I
when
asked
she
her.
does, when
So
she
I'm
does
like,
this, I'm thinking about, okay, my phone is right there. I could make a
oh,
note that
or record
that
her.
on this day, on this day you said this. So,
Hmm.
but this is something you can do. You can make little notes to yourself when things like this happen because I'll give you another example. You know how we have healer circle. So just November 18th or whatever next week, we have a healer circle.
Mm,
And one of the reasons for the healer circle is so when you have a learned experience,
hmm
it's good to talk about it. But other things happen too, Tanya. You might have a learned experience that other healers don't have. Example, you're very tuned into the human biofield. You always have been, but other healers might not have that skill set. Maybe there's in a different direction. So that's one of the reasons for the healer's circle is you can say, well, I've been doing my healing work and I noticed this from this perspective. Then the other
hmm
healers go, "Mm." So there's lots of ways that you can make notes about your work that further your life, your process, your
hmm
development.
hmm
That's a great story.
Thank you. Interesting. I just think that the dimensions are overlapping, and those two stories really, I mean, come on. Especially the radio wave one. I definitely heard it was a broadcast from another time. And it was before my time for sure.
It's interesting you should say that too, because we're in a period of mass coronal ejections, CMEs, coronal mass ejections. This is where millions of tons of matter are expelled from the sun and they head towards Earth at 2 million miles an hour. That's why we can see it optically, but it takes 2 days to reach Earth because 2 million miles an hour, 93 million miles away. You do the math, that's 2 days. And what it does, among other things, is look at the pretty lights come as far south as Texas and Georgia and Florida because
Right.
of all these electrons hitting the Earth. But the other thing it does is it messes with our human electromagnetic system because our nerves run on electricity, not to mention cell phones and power grids. So it's interesting. Again, you said some things today that are very interesting, and they coincide with electrical wavelength anomalies. The other thing too is these ejections are measured same way as hurricanes. Hurricanes can be category 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
hmm
Well, these solar flares and coronal mass ejections or CMEs are also measured G1 through G5. And this was a G4. And it's
Yeah.
been it's been hitting these last 3 days, including today, I think is maximum. I mean, if you got folks in Texas, maybe they look up at the sky tonight and they
See
see
something.
the
I think
aurora.
my sister-in-law sent us a photo of when the first one hit, and it's impressive.
Mhm.
Well, I'm not gonna look it up now, but I remember seeing some cool photos that she sent, but I'll ask my daughter because I think my sister-in-law, she is
Oop, you just froze. We were just talking. You just froze. We were just talking about interrupting electrical signals.
I'm back. We're speaking with one of my staff members. We were supposed to do supervision, and the phones were going really, disconnect. She couldn't hear me. I couldn't hear her. And I'm like, okay, you're
Oh, you froze again.
froze. There we go. You're back. You're back in the my favorite bamboo. I love bamboo, especially the big ones.
Yeah, I like this image. I'm in the bamboo forest.
But I'll start because I have a little diary. I was taking notes when things happen just so I can remember and keep track.
Okay.
Uh, Regarding the clients, I know for a fact, like that new kiddo I was telling you about, mom went from crying, and I'm really, my poor baby, we waited too late. I think he's almost 2. He doesn't use any words at all. And showing signs of autism, but he does really some odd things. And so I just saw him as highly intelligent. He's speaking with everyone through his mind. As soon as I walked in the room, his mom was like, "Oh my gosh, he likes you." This is not the response I typically get. He didn't give me great eye contact, but he gave me eye contact, which he normally doesn't do that at all, right? So my
Mhm.
method is naturalistic. So if I want him to, I have these things that stick to the windows, different colors. They're made out of silicone, and it's good for fine motor, language, everything. Because you can stand up. So now he's getting gross motor, fine motor, we're integrating language. He has to take them off the windows. While his big sister's there, who's only like 4. So we're telling her what color they are. We just want her to go one color at a time. And she's like, oh, he's not going to comply. So you know what I want him to do is to pull him off the window. But I don't ask him. I don't push him. The whole time we're sticking them on there, I'm like, oh, red, 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 4. And then we call out his name. He's going to come and get him. And so she's just putting them all over the window like an Easter egg hunt. He comes over, he grabs the first one and he throws it. It bonks me in the head. The mom is like, don't throw them. And I'm like, oh, my head. I said, shh, it's okay. Oh, my head hurts. That hurt. Then he pulls the rest of them off. We didn't ask him to come. We didn't tell him to come. He did it on his own. So then we do it again. He comes over because he knows we're saying this is for, and we're calling out his name. This is for blah, blah, blah. We're putting them up, coloring out, calling out the colors. Now he pulls it off and he just drops it. He didn't throw it because it could have hit my head again, right? Because I'm still right next to him. It's pretty cool. And she says, I'm not used to this method. So by the time we were done, he did everything we wanted him to do, but with no pressure. So it's free flowing and it's naturalistic, as
Nice.
opposed to a lot of specialists want them to sit in a seat. You're going to perform this. I'm going to show you. You're going to do what I tell you to do. That's it.
Hmm.
But if they're autistic, they're already somewhere else. So we have to ground and bring them here.
Oh yeah.
And then we move. So I start talking about the chakras, and I think he's a heart-centered individual. And so I felt like he is a healer because my knee was hurting when I was walking to the front door. I take off my shoes, wash my hands, and I'm ready to play. I'm on the floor, right, with my legs crossed. My knee is not hurting at all. Yeah,
Well, you've heard about the indigo children, right?
right. But I haven't done
But
much research, but I remember a lot of people talking about
it's
kids
just it's
coming.
just it's just that there are men and women being born in this lifetime who are kind of advanced. And the downside is they could be born to parents who are not really aware of how advanced their child really is.
Hmm.
So the child could suffer because they're not being given an environment where they can thrive. And I'm not saying the parents are good or bad, not at all. It's just that sometimes children come into this world in this era, this 2012 era, that they're very, very evolved little beings.
Yes.
And so, on the one hand, well, maybe they don't need a lot of help. And on the other hand, maybe they're helping the parents to evolve. So, it's kind of a complex issue, but you're going to find that there are children who really want to release the inner floodgates of their potential, but they need to feel safe. They need to feel nurtured. And the
Hmm.
way you would nurture a little bird, you know,
Hmm.
with nuances, nothing huge or overt, but very gentle.
Hmm.
So my sense is that you're going to be encountering such kind of children.
We already are. I can already see, and I've been seeing them before COVID, like 5 years
Oh,
prior to
okay.
COVID, because the
Yeah.
kids stopped talking. And you could say, oh, it was, the digital world. So we'll go ahead. I'll mix it all up with things they can accept and then slowly integrate what we're doing here because some parents aren't ready. So the new part of our
No.
program that we're introducing and the reason why we're doing workshops on Saturday is to integrate the spiritual part. So everyone says they have a holistic approach and it's not true. Mind, body, spirit is left somewhere else, maybe Sunday or whatever. But we are integrating, and this is the training that I'm getting from you. That's the piece we are now integrating, but not across the board because the parents have to be ready.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
no integration.
there's little bits of your teaching over the past year and a half that you can talk to your coworkers, little tidbits here and there that you can
Hmm.
suggest to them, and they would just advance them as to them as well.
Well, that's what I do first is train the staff. So I've already told them we're integrating this. You're going to give more information, but when I supervise, they get that. This is what we're now
Cool.
looking at. So if they say, oh, kiddo's not talking, I don't know if they're going to talk. So we go back to fundamentals. Okay. Are they making sounds? What sounds are they making? They're going to be a talker if they can make a sound. If they're mute, they make no sounds. The likelihood is slim, but it can happen. We want to leave it unlimited. We never want to, you know, we can't. It's not our choice. But anyway, we can actually transform someone who's making sounds, not transform them, but help them get there with coaching. So it's the parent, it's the team approach, and getting the kiddo motivated to do it. Because you're right, a lot of them are bored. And I will even have this conversation with
Yes.
babies. I'll say, look, I know this
Yeah.
is below your pay grade, but Grandma Tanya, really, can you just do this for us this one time? And then we won't have to do it 10 times. We're done. And they'll do it. They will. Like this kiddo, he was so relaxed. And the mom says, I love your approach. The other ones just aren't doing it. And then when I brought up the heart chakra and that he's gifted, that he's a healer, oh, you should have seen her. She was beaming. She was like, I want more of that. And so
You
seeing
see,
her as her
you're
child is the
all
opposite.
you're already enlightening your coworkers and and the parents. Already it's coming through you. And some of these changes are dramatic, and sometimes the healer themselves, like you, don't always realize how far that stretches. It changes people's lives in ways that sometimes we're not aware of, nor should we be. But
Mhm.
this is very positive.
But I do have to tell you, after I took that tobacco, I was watching something and the speaker was sitting in an orange chair. So you know how I see the auras and all that. So what will happen is
Yeah.
if I see someone on television, if they've been here for different lifetimes, I can see it's like they're light in different places, right?
Hmm.
It's all around, not just what people traditionally think, right? There's a light that comes off or circulates through and
Hmm.
around. But I actually see this like there, it could be the shape of like an oval, but it's about the size of their head. So I could see that light in all positions all around. So I know they've been here multiple times. It's not the first
Hmm.
time, blah, 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 blah. Well, this person, and I've seen this with angels, is that they will float away out of my view. So I can see the silhouette of the angel, and then it just boop, like that. But I don't see like this
Mm.
light all around, right? So I'm
Well,
looking at,
remember day one. Keep trusting the way your intuition informs you.
mhm. Well, what happened was this lady's sitting in a chair. The chair is orange, but the light that's coming off, and she like disappears. The chair is turquoise.
No kidding.
So she's wearing a white shirt, but what I see
It's the
is a
opposite.
black shirt, and then her face, it turned to turquoise too. So I'm like, was she an alien?
Mm.
I think she was an alien and not. This is a supernal being because usually it's angels that will float away out of my view, right?
There are many races of beings who are on the planet right
Hmm.
now, and the galaxy is like a coral reef. It's rich with life. But, we're back to the ant farm, you know,
Right.
eat food, ultimate fighting championships, football, so one of the greatest gifts you can give someone on the one hand is to allow them to give you something, to allow yourself to receive. But another great gift you give someone is to open their eyes. I mean, I'm teaching this class with 10 students at CIHS. It's all online. It's all
Mm,
online. One student in Perth, one in Singapore, and the rest across the US. And the greatest gift that I see is the light going on in these students beyond, the academics and the scholarly work is important, of course, but this is psychology of the chakras. And in 10 weeks, I'm trying to get them to. So one of their assignments is to assess each other's dominant chakra.
mm.
But what I'm saying is, I'm seeing the light go on in them. And
That's
that's going to inform everything they do, whether it's their family or their studies or their avocation, whatever that is.
mm-hmm.
And that's what healers training does. It's about you use your chakras, so you're awakening yours, but you're flowing that energy through you to the other person, so it's awakening them. This is why it's
Yes.
so hard for me to describe what I do. I give people fits. Like this woman I'm working with is brilliant. She has a company called Centaur Strategies to develop a website for me based on what I do.
Mm.
And so, to her credit, she gives her possible people that are going to do business with her a questionnaire that's like a million pages long.
Oh my
So that
goodness.
so that so that you got to write down yourself what it is you do. But I still have trouble describing what I do. I mean, like if if someone says, "Hey Tanya, what is it that Dr. J does?" I
Everything.
can I, I can only imagine what some people say. He tells jokes.
That's your favorite part.
No,
No, flower
that's
readings.
the part I can describe.
Uh,
Self-awareness, self-empowerment. That's what it's, have
mm,
all this lightning come to you, but ground it,
right.
make it useful.
And then I was thinking about the lesson learned from Wanda. So I'm not gonna avoid her. I will call her and when it's right because I'm leaving town for a couple of weeks. I won't be back till after Thanksgiving
Yeah.
to either reconnect, just talk to her on the phone or what have you. Uh, because what I try to do at this point is to be open to where God leads me and not say no. So I went through a phase where I
Yeah.
was like the doormat, right? I went through a phase where if someone asked me to do something, I would do it. I could end up doing stuff for years with them. And it's like endless, and there's no like we made a goal and never meet the goal
There's
because
no
they keep changing it.
resolution.
Yeah, they keep changing it. There's no end. It's like I agreed to do a project with them. I did my part, but their part kept changing. But anyway, so I was like, I can't be a doormat. I don't want to be her friend to clean out her room or her garage. But if I knew her well and I was at her house and she says, this is what I'm doing this weekend, I would do it. I would help her. Would I clean out the whole thing? No. I would go, okay, I'm going to spend 2 hours. I'll help you. No problem. You're gonna have a garage sale? I'll help you. I don't mind. I don't expect anything in return. I'm hanging out, having fun with you, right? But the moment that it happened, it caught me off guard and I was thinking, I was looking for a really healthy friend right now, not, but God sent Wanda, so I'm not gonna complain, right?
Hmm.
So anyway,
Been a
I
good,
started
it's been a
thinking
good
that,
lesson for both of you. But the thing for Wanda is she willing to change?
and you know what? That's not my to me, it's not significant. It's as long as I'm respectful to seniors. For some reason, I was supposed to be with her, and I can limit that interaction at the time. It's
Hmm.
up to Wanda if she wants to come back or not. You know, we may all be back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see what it.
And you may meet several other Wandas in succession through your training. Because remember, when you start learning to be a policeman, you're going to attract people who need policing. When you start to become an acupuncturist, you may attract people who need needles.
Oh,
When you start to become a spiritual healer, you may attract people who need spiritual healing. Why?
right.
Levels 10 and 11. When you start studying how to take entities out of people, What do you
Hmm.
think you're going to attract?
And I have another friend like her, but I've had her for years, and I met her when she was healthy. So now she's a senior. So the part that hit me, and I saw Enriqueta this weekend too, was that they are aging, and all three of these friends have no children. I mean, the thing, Richard,
Oh,
you have kids. I have kids. I have grandkids.
yeah, yeah.
If you need something, you better believe your grandkids or your kids are going to be there for you. They will at whatever level they can be there, right? They're not going to abandon you. But we're talking about seniors, and all of them have said, I don't have kids. I am thinking about what's going to happen to me without support.
Hmm.
And so we already talked to our kids, already lined up. My daughter's the one that's going to help us out. Even for my sister-in-law who has no kids and doesn't have a relationship, I talked to another son and say, look, we really need you to be there and commit to being there for her. And he says, yeah, I'll do that. And he already told her that too. Like she's healthy and independent, but when the time comes that she needs help, he's committing to being there. And I think that makes a difference. Instead of my now Wanda, I have, Enriqueta, and I have another friend, no kids. And it's something that's on their minds that what am I going to do when I need groceries? You could call someone to deliver, but that's different from someone really looking out after you. So I thought, oh, she's a messenger. I have to respect everyone where they're at. And then remember, I respect my
You
seniors
do.
and
You
all
do.
life and love. Yeah.
That is very clear that you do. Well, let's go ahead and conclude for today. Um, I feel like we covered really, really good information. And as always, I will send you the recording from today. Seems like I've done a lot of recording this week. And I think we're going to email out or mail out my lecture that I gave yesterday on
Oh, okay, nice.
measuring the bow. I think this you and the graduates would really like it. I hope.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so let's schedule your level 9. Um, we don't have to do that right now,
Okay,
but
I'll
let's
wait and
let's
just hear from you. Let's see what works.
yeah.
Friday should work. And then I'll see you on Monday. I'll zoom in because I'll be in Texas at that time.
Okay. All right. Well, safe travels, and
Thank you.
we had a really great session today. Well done, and well, I will be
Thank
contacting
you.
you about level 9.
All right. I hope your doctor's appointment goes well.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Oh, okay, good. All right. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.